Things are always more difficult at home. You go visit anybody else's house, be okay. You come home, you feel more pressure. Things are always more difficult at home.
Maybe.
So you're going to have more difficulties in your home environment of Germany than you are in other countries.
Yes, definitely.
And there's a lot of psychological reasons for this, but things are always more difficult at home because there's more pressure. There's
Mm-hmm.
always more pressure on us the closer we are to home. And this applies in work as much as it does in our own personal lives. It's just one of those psychological things where it's often easier to be who we need to be when we're somewhere where nobody knows who we are. We don't have to invent. We don't always have to reinvent ourselves. Some people go through that process from time to time, but we only really succeed when we become ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the great problem that a lot of film stars and pop stars have, that they have a persona which is not themselves, and they feel that they're never really successful because it's the persona. It's not really who they are.
Mm-hmm.
The famous star is, I don't know, sporty Spice Girl, but that's not who she really is.
Mm-hmm.
So she has this complex, perhaps, that who is she? Would she really be famous if she was just herself? Um, so it's hard, and teachers teachers have it hard as well because there's a lot of stagecraft in teaching. A lot of what we do is dictated by the environment. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you have flat land, you build farms. Um, you cultivate the land. If bananas grow locally, you eat the bananas. That uh, the environment dictates what we do. If it's hot, we wear less clothes. Um, if it's cold, we drink more strong alcohol. So our habits and how we behave is very much dictated by our habitat.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see the language relationship there. Habitat creates habit. And what we do a lot of the time is we fit in. Where's our space? Oh, there's our place. And we fit ourselves in.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not the same person that you were before because
No, I'm not.
you've had all these developmental experiences. So that putting the new you into the space for the old you doesn't really work very well. And part of the conflict is that you can look in the mirror and know that you've grown and you've had these experiences, but nobody else will see it. And most people will not take the time to get to know you to realize the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit frustrating. That's why a lot of people travel and search and go and live somewhere else. Because wherever it is that they are, especially when it's at home, is it's seldom appreciated because the it's fixed. It's like it's like I have this. Here's a stupid example for you, but I hope this works, right? I have an Xbox game system for my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an Xbox 360 game system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, This is the old system.
Mhm.
All the cool kids and the cool people, everyone's got the new system. They've got the
Mhm.
Xbox One,
Mhm.
which is the new system. But I've got the old system. And I'm happy with the old system. But the old system will always be the old system. It will never be the new system. As much as I want the old system to upgrade itself, it never will. The Xbox 360 will always be the Xbox 360. It will never be the Xbox One.
Mhm.
And that's how society is very often, right? Um, Everyone else around you is living with their Xbox 360, and you've now got an Xbox One, and you're wondering why it doesn't all. It's not all compatible. It's not all compatible because you are now living different systems with different needs because of different experiences. And your technology, and believe it or not, the human system is actually a technological system. It's a biological technological system. Your biology is different from the biology around about you, and it's almost incompatible because I can't take games for the Xbox One and play them on the Xbox 360. It doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's still an Xbox, but the technology is different.
Mhm.
You have upgraded your technology, and you are returning to a system that expects no upgrades at all. I mean, you could be you with very little or no experience and do the same job, as I'm sure there are many people working in the school who have done that one job in that one area their whole life and don't have a wide variety of worldly experiences. Yeah, that's the old system. And fitting into that can be very complicated because your technology and their technology is different and is very often not compatible.
Mhm.
This doesn't mean things can't work. What this does mean is that we must expect problems. It's inevitable. And we must expect problems that have no solution. Yeah, it's a bit like an old film, right? Oh, I loved that film with that actor, and that actor makes new films and gets older, but people still love the old film. Well, yeah, just like Keanu Reeves will always be the character from The Matrix, right? Doesn't matter what else he does, he'll always be that character. So it's people form their images of who they are, and not just who they are, but who you are. And it's too inconvenient to them to change. The truth is they need to change, but it's just too inconvenient. They'll never do it because it's difficult. And the crazy thing is that we can all be almost anybody we want to be.
Yeah.
But who we want to be is very often dictated by our environment. If you grow up in Japan, you speak Japanese, right? And if you go to another country, your Japanese is not going to be very useful,
Mhm.
probably. And and so we learn these constructs that are that are difficult. It's about fitting in. We have to
Mhm.
we all have to search for and find a place where we fit in. And if we don't find it, then we have to keep looking.
Mhm.
We have to keep looking and keep looking and keep looking. And it happens that some people find where they fit in very early in life, and it happens that
Mhm.
some people never find where they fit in at all.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
no there's no rules that govern it. It's
Yeah.
it's understanding. The most important thing is to understand what our role is, because as an intelligent person, you could do almost any job. You could learn it, right? You could give a couple of weeks, you could learn it, right? It's not that most jobs are not that complex. So you could be anybody anywhere, but right now people need you to be a certain person. And that might not be the type of person that you are right now. And that's going to create certain conflicts. We never grow in the eyes of those that are closest to us. Doesn't happen. Very often we need distance to get perspective. We realize who we miss only when they are not there. And it's hard to get this distance and perspective at home or in a place that's perceived to be home.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think life is always hardest for those who grow the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably.
Because when you grow more, you have more perspective. If you don't grow at all, it's pretty simple. Life is The world is not designed for intelligent people. The world is designed for idiots. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to people. I mean that it's designed to be as simple as possible so that nobody can make a mess of anything. Right, that government fears so much that the people are so stupid they micromanage every tiny little single detail from the clothes you wear to the color of your hair to your social activities and hobbies. They want to micromanage anything because they're scared to death of what the the profane masses are going to do next. Um, so it's I think it's in depression and suicide is highest amongst intellectual communities. Perhaps with the exception of military personnel who have
Mm-hmm.
and maybe doctors, because military personnel and doctors I think have the highest rates of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
But if we ignore those statistics, it's really amongst intellectual people. And hopefully doctors should be intellectual. Soldiers, that's a different story. But they learn a lot from their difficult experiences. So I think that's really positive because it brings us to the conclusion that we can find answers because we do have the ability to do it. Some people don't. And they never ask questions and they never know and they never understand. But those who are wise can. And they do ask questions. And they do work on themselves. And they do realize it takes time. And they do like the challenges that it brings. Because they know there will be progress. There's no progress without some level of struggle or adversity, for sure.